Well, seems a good time to check in with Iowa and Iowa pig farmer Kurt Swanson. Kurt, welcome. Good to have you.
Thank you.
All right. What do you think of Joni Ernst?
I know she grew up in our community. She seems like a really good gal, a hard worker, nice person. I think she's out to try and do a good job.
You know, it can be a scary political statement, I suppose. Hey, I know how to castrate pigs. I'll fix you people in Washington.
Well, I would guess probably from where she's been in her military career, and I think that's probably one thing we do need in politics today is courage, and I'd say she probably has that.
How much chance does she have?
Well, I'm not that versed on politics and everything, but I have followed it a little bit. The little bit I did reading last night looks like she had a slight advantage, maybe a pretty even draw, but I know she's gained a lot of headway there. When she first started campaigning, they didn't give her much of a chance, and now she might even have a slight lead. So I think people have accepted her thoughts and are paralleling some of the things she'd like to change.
Well, I have to believe, Kurt, that mother, farmer, soldier would play well in rural America.
Well, you know, I take a lot of pride in being from Iowa and feel blessed to be able to grow up in the rural areas. You know, it's amazing when you do live in an agricultural community. Each year you've got to feel like there's a crop that's got to get it put in, and you hope that there's a crop that's going to be harvested, but yet there is that uncertainty. So it does build some character being the rural part of the country, I believe.
Yeah, I'm from a rural background myself. You've had a pretty well-known Democrat, Tom Harkin, for quite some time. How would you describe your state politically?
Well, I used to be involved a little bit on the Iowa Pork Producers Board. I got to do a little bit with some of those leaders in our legislative areas. You know, I think the whole country, I think we need to find something to feel good about again, feel some security. I know Tom Harkin had been there for a long time. I can remember working on a few issues with him back when we had some real concerns about the pricing structure in the pork industry. I think we're ready for a change. I think it should be good to get someone like Joni in there that has some new views and new ideas.
Well, she seems the type of person, based on that ad, who will not go unnoticed. And I know, being from a smaller area myself, it's easy to feel as though Washington, for instance, could pay a lot of attention to Texas and Florida and New York and California and maybe not really notice Iowa at all.
Oh, I think very much so. And I think somewhere as Americans and maybe even people of the world, we need to feel good about the people that lead us. And I look back at our past leaders. I've got, every once in a while they'll ask you some type of question like, if you had any chance to meet with somebody, who would it be? And a couple of mine would be Thomas Roosevelt and Abraham Lincoln. And as I think of our past leaders, there's not many of those that would make the list. So I think somehow we need some refreshment.
How do you think President Obama has done for 6 years?
Oh, I guess my grandma told me not to say bad things about people, and I don't think he's done a very good job. I did a little campaigning for Steve Forbes in 2000 and would have really liked to seen him become president. And I wonder what the state of our country would be if we would have had him as a president 14 years ago. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that need to change.
I want to ask you about an issue we talk a lot about here, and I just wonder if it has gotten into the conscience of people in Iowa or to you, and it's the Keystone Pipeline. Does that ever come up?
Yeah, I hear it on some of the campaign ads and stuff, and I do know that energy is a very, very important thing, and I've got some friends that are in other forms of commodities. I find it interesting. I've got a good friend that he was awarded National Forester of the Year a year ago, and he enlightened me to some of the politics of the spotted owl. And I think one of the things in life I try to tell my kids is that there's certain times you have beliefs, but you have to make certain that those beliefs are real and not illusions. And I get bothered about some of the politics and how we sometimes get misled for certain reasons that maybe aren't real.
Yeah, we kind of feel that the pipeline is not only a necessity in terms of moving oil to the benefit of Canada, we're the seller, but to America as well, to deal with a friendly neighbor to buy oil as opposed to some of the people you might get oil from on the planet. But it's also, in fact, a safe way to move oil. So we see President Obama as, or at least I certainly do, the impediment to that, and getting a few more perhaps Republicans in the Senate might help.
Yeah, very much so. I agree completely.
Kurt Swanson has been with me, Iowa pig farmer. I would like you to know, Kurt, that one of the things that makes life worth living is bacon.
Oh, I appreciate that. We take a lot of pride in raising pigs, and we've been blessed in many ways. And I guess one of the fun things, we sell 4-H pigs and FFA pigs, so I get to meet lots of young people. And I do take a lot of pride in trying to provide a safe, healthy food source for the world. And so I find that gratifying. Thank you.
All the best to you. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Glad to do it.